Hello future aspirants of NEET, welcome to my channel. So in this channel I will be giving you all the questions, tips, strategies and the concepts that you need to clear the NEET exam. So now I have brought certain questions from physics. There are two questions I have selected and these questions pertain to the chapter of the topic of projectile motion. So while I was a student I used to find it pretty confusing and a little difficult as the questions get tougher when we started writing the practice test for NEET exam. So, institutes makes these questions a little bit much more tougher than what is actually coming in the NEET exam, but that is extremely important that you do and solve tougher questions like this. So I have selected two questions. These were my favorite questions in this topic when I was preparing, and this is the question I have selected from the Aligarh Muslim University question paper 2016. So they used to conduct the examination, and yes, the physics paper in this exam is always a little bit on the tougher side. And you can see this is a very conceptual question in physics and you need to apply many concepts, the entire idea of what is actually a projectile motion so as to solve this question. So we will just read through this question first of all. 2 seconds after projection, projectile is moving at 30 degree above horizontal. So towards the horizontal it is making an angle 30 degree, and after 1 more second, that means 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. At 3rd second it is moving horizontally, that means it is at the topmost point. The magnitude of its initial velocity is. So, this is a moderate style question, moderate difficulty level question. So, first of all, let's understand what is projectile motion. So, I was taught by my teacher with this particular, definition for projectile. Projectile motion is a two-dimensional motion. Two-dimensional motion means one-dimensional motion. One along the horizontal and one along the vertical. The horizontal motion is uniform motion, the vertical motion is uniformly accelerated motion, and some teachers say it as uniformly decelerated motion. So you can understand that I have made a just simple representation because that is how we solve questions in physics. So 2 seconds after projection, so let us say that this is the time after 2 seconds. It is moving at an angle of 30 degree to the horizontal. So I can understand that this is 30 degrees. And exactly 1 second after this, so this is time equal to 3 seconds, it is moving horizontally. It is at the topmost point. At the topmost point, you know that the vertical motion is 0. At the topmost point, vertical motion is very much equivalent to saying it is a free fall because it is movement under the influence of gravity only. So at the topmost point, it is 0 vertical velocity, while the horizontal velocity, since it is uniform motion, we will just take it as u cos theta, where theta is the angle it made at the time of projection with the horizontal. So this is now what we are having here, and we know that yes, the time taken to cover the half distance, so this much, if it is covering half the distance, that is actually given by 2u sin theta by g divided by 2. 2u sin theta by g is the total time of flight. You just divide it by 2, you will get half the time taken. So that 3 seconds, I can just equate it to u sin theta divided by g. U sin theta divided by g is equal to 3 seconds. Now g is given, you can take it as 10 meter per second square, and u sin theta, you will directly get it as 30. Okay, so this is the first information that we can derive from this particular question. Now we will consider the time t is equal to 2 seconds. Now you see that yes, the body is moving at an angle 30 degree to the horizontal. Now the horizontal velocity, as I said, I am continuously repeating this, it is uniform motion. Again and again it is u cos theta. So this is the horizontal velocity. Now vertical velocity, what will be it? See, you know that initially the vertical velocity is u sin theta. Fine. Now as it covers t is equal to 2 seconds, we know that it is equivalent to saying that it is moving under the influence of gravity. So you can simply say, you can simply use the equation v is equal to u minus gt over here. So that is why we will simply put it as u sin theta minus gt. This is the vertical velocity of the body at t is equal to 2 seconds. U sin theta we have found it out to be 30. Okay, so you can just plug in here time t equal to 2 seconds and g is equal to 10 meter per second square. That means we can readily find out what is this value. So we will simply find it out here, that is u sin theta minus gt is equal to, u sin theta is 30 minus 10 multiplied by t is equal to 2. So that is 10 as such. you can take it as u sin theta minus gt at the vertical velocity is meter per second, 10 meter per second. 10 meter per second is the vertical velocity over here. So this is 10. Now, if we consider this particular aspect as such, this particular diagram here, the body at time t equal to 2 seconds, it is moving at horizontal velocity of u cos theta and the vertical velocity is 10. Now, this is the resultant velocity of the body, and if I just take this over here, I will get somewhat like this, 10, and you can take it as this is 30 degree, isn't it? You can simply find out the tan 30 value from here. So, tan 30 is equal to opposite side, that is 10, divided by adjacent side, that is u cos theta. And u cos theta can be found out very readily from this particular value. So, u cos theta is equal to 10 divided by tan 30. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So, that goes upstairs and that will be 10 root 3. So, u cos theta, that will give you, that will be equal to 10 root 3. Right. So, you have u sin theta here, u cos theta here, square it and add it. So, you will have u square is equal to 1200, and that if you just solve, you will take the root of that, you will directly get it as option number 2. So, this is a very important question as far as your practice is concerned in solving physics question as such. So, if you practice these kind of questions, then that will definitely propel you towards understanding physics more, and you will take less time to solve questions in physics whenever it is asked. Like in AIPMT or NEET, you will have one or the other question which is very difficult. So, if you practice these kind of questions over there, you will have to collect those questions first of all from previously asked questions. So, this was one of my favorite questions that was asked in AMU 2016. So, let us switch over to one more question that I have brought from this topic of projectiles. So, again friends, this is the second question that I have brought from the topic of projectile motion, but this time I am taking it from the IIT JEE Advanced exam that was conducted in the year 2013. You might be wondering why we need to solve questions from IIT JEE exam, but actually if I tell you that over the years it has increased in its difficulty level, but now if you try to solve questions of this year's or last year's paper, it will be much more difficult than the questions that was asked in some years before. Now 2013 IIT, I used to find this as one of the very important paper that any NEET aspirant should do. You can solve the questions of physics and chemistry from there, because questions are much more easier, but yes, they are challenging. So if you find that okay, you have studied everything in what is required for NEET, you can solve most of the questions, I will recommend you to take this paper, only this paper, and start solving the question from there. So you need to practice more on physics, these kind of questions. So this is one of my again favorite question from IIT 2013. So this is a beautiful clubbing of two concepts, that is collision and the concept of projectiles. So you are completely joining these two concepts over here. Let us read through this. A particle of mass m, see this is the particle of mass m, which is projected from ground, at an angle of alpha at an initial velocity of u0. Now, at the highest point, yes, so half of its trajectory is completed. I said at the highest point its vertical velocity is 0, because any body thrown up at the highest most point, its vertical velocity is 0. And its horizontal velocity will definitely be u0 cos theta, cos alpha, since alpha is given over here in the question, because we know that horizontal motion is uniform motion. Now, at that particular moment, what happens is another mass, identical particle, identical mass m is thrown with the same velocity upwards, and that will collide with this over here. And then they are clubbing in the concept, they are plugging in the concept of inelastic collision over here. Inelastic means only momentum is conserved, not energy. So what happens is that this will collide with this, since these are equal particles, they will be moving as a composite mass. And this composite mass, they are asking you to find out what the velocity of the composite mass will make with the horizontal. So this is the wonderful question they have asked over here. This particular height, maximum height attained by a projectile is readily given by the formula h is equal to u square sine square alpha, since alpha is the word which is given here, alpha is the term used in the question, upon 2g. So this is the equation that we will be first taking into account here. See, for this mass to collide here, it has to travel the same height, and when it travels the same height before collision, what is the velocity? So that can be very easily found out from the equation. V square is equal to u square minus 2 into g into s. in place of s, we will plug in this particular value over here. So that v square is equal to u naught square minus 2 into g multiplied by u square sine square alpha divided by 2g. And once you solve this, you will understand that a bit of trigonometry is involved over here. But yes, very simple question, that is 1 minus sine square alpha is equal to cos square alpha. And once you take v out of that, v you will directly get it as what? U naught cos alpha itself. So what does that mean? What did we infer from this? We inferred that before collision, both their velocities are equal and both their masses are equal. So it is very easy to conclude what happens after collision. So these two masses are colliding over here, and this velocity before collision was u naught cos alpha, and everything is same. So momentum is a vector, so we will just have to conserve it over here, and that is very readily understandable that it will move. The composite mass of 2m will move at an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal. Why? Because both of them were perpendicular to each other, and now they are moving at this position. So 45 is a very ready answer that you can very easily find out once you have this much of information that you get from there. So the correct answer for this question, I will be marking it as option number 1. Right? So these are the two important questions that I have brought from projectile, which are not very straightforward. So this is how I will be discussing questions over here. So if you have any suggestions, please put it in the comment box below, and please like, share, subscribe my videos. Thank you.